Here's a case about a couple that will always make my favorite people to work with list. Ishtar and Kader have been clients of mine since 2008. Back then too, they were in well-paying corporate jobs and both have enjoyed significant career growth over the years. Both born and raised in Pakistan from affluent, well-educated families, they ventured abroad to study and work and made Dubai home in their 30s. But the goal was always to go back someday and retire in Pakistan, close to family. In line with this, over the years, Ishtar and Kader invested in offshore savings and investment portfolios. But they also continued to procure property back in the defense colonies in Pakistan, high-demand homes in elite communities that they knew would appreciate over time. The properties did in fact appreciate, but as with most people invested in the Indian subcontinent, the currency devaluation over the last decade or so didn't bode so well for them. Apart from that one piece not going to plan, however, Ishtar and Kader have done very well with their money. They've got multiple structured savings plans and investment portfolios in place, purchased life insurance in both of their names, leaving significant sums behind for each other and their sons. They had and were mindfully growing their estate that they wanted to leave behind and were adding to these pots consistently. Over the years, Kader had put in place $2 million of universal life and added an additional $2 million later on. He also had $800,000 in critical illness cover in place. Ishtar had purchased $900,000 of life cover and had critical illness of $400,000 in place. The goal for the critical illness cover was, of course, very straightforward: to pay out should illness strike either of them. And the life insurance policies were put in place to ensure that the two sons, both born and raised in the UAE, holders of British and American passports respectively, would have access to the proceeds from these policies payable to them in a currency of their choice anywhere in the world. So Ishtar and Kader have property in Pakistan, property in the UAE, property in the UK, life insurance and critical illness cover in place, and Kader, when he chose to step down, would also stand to receive a hefty end-of-service package from his company after over 20 years of service to them. All in all was good. Shortly after Ishtar's 50th birthday, I reached out to her to share a few recommendations pending our standard periodic reviews of our clients' financial plans and goals. Her critical illness and life insurance plans could use a bump in amount and could certainly use an extension. Her critical illness cover was due to expire at the age of 58, and her life insurance was due to expire at the age of 65. I suggested that we apply to extend the timeline on both of these policies and get an additional $5 million of universal life cover in place for her. Ishtar agreed and went through with her medicals. We applied to one insurer with critical illness and to the other insurers without critical illness, just life insurance. She got offered $5 million worth of life cover from that second insurer. But the first insurer came back with a few questions about her blood work. Ishtar decided that at this time to hold off on the life insurance cover till they had sold off their property in Pakistan, a process that was already underway. She planned on using the proceeds from the property sale to fund the additional life insurance cover. And then shortly after this offer was on the table, Ishtar got diagnosed with breast cancer. Early stage, completely treatable and no death risk, but cancer all the same. This changed everything. The offer that Ishtar had on the table from the one insurer who had offered her a standalone life insurance policy without critical illness was still on the table for another 20 days after this diagnosis. And Ishtar had no legal obligation to disclose any new findings to the insurer at this point. She acted really quickly. Ishtar and Kader moved a few funds around and got that $5 million policy in place swiftly. Once this was in place, we proceeded to get her previous critical illness cover to pay out since she had been diagnosed with cancer. The claim was settled within a few days, and as of the time of recording of this video, has reached Ishtar just about 4 days ago. She's using the sum that she receives as critical illness cover to further pour into the premiums for that $5 million life insurance policy. At the risk of sounding like a broken record over here, I must point out that Ishtar had waited or procrastinated on getting those medicals in place. Had she waited to go through with the application, that offer would not have been on the table when she got her cancer diagnosis. When it comes to life insurance and critical illness, there's a small and finite window of opportunity. Beyond this window, your policy will almost certainly get more expensive. But the bigger risk is, what could have happened to Ishtar here? You could be rendered uninsurable if the disease strikes. To be fair, Ishtar has not been declared uninsurable. Her cancer has been caught early and is completely treatable. She purchased this policy because this might be, it could be, her last shot at getting more life insurance cover in place, knowing fully well that that might not be the case at all. But the thing is, what if that is the case? What if this now is indeed your last shot at getting a safety net in place for your loved ones? I'm going to encourage you to take a step here for yourself, a very private step that nobody needs to know about, should you wish to keep it that way. Head over to this Life Happens Life Insurance Needs Calculator. Work out your life insurance needs to figure out how much you need to do or how much you want to leave behind for your loved ones when you die. It might sound morbid, but that's just it, isn't it? It's not an if, it's a when. And it is up to you to decide how you want to leave things behind for the people you love the most. Can you do this tomorrow? Sure. But should you do it today? Perhaps. This is one of those important, not urgent tasks until it suddenly is urgent and important. Don't sleep on this one. Just go in and do this risk-free, zero cost, no sales pitch calculation.